Esther Emery. I'm the Homestead wife at the DIY and homesteading channel Fauchamatic Off Grid. Today I am participating in a collaboration on the subject of growing your own herbs. It was originated by Rain Country Homestead, and there are a number of channels participating. You can see all those links below if you'd like to click around. And here's some other people's perspective on growing your own herbs. When I first was invited to participate, I said, well, you do understand, don't you, that my garden is under 2 feet of snow, literally 2 feet of snow. I can't really show any of what I'm growing right now, but I was told that actually it's fine for me to just talk about what I've grown and to encourage people to maybe think of some of my favorites for your own herb gardens, which I'd love to do. So I chose to do my video here in my cellar because not only do I store food in the cellar, I also store dried herbs. And I'll show you some of the things that I've grown, and in particular one thing that I make myself, completely all the ingredients myself except the glycerin, is a children's stress calmer, which is an important, healthful and helpful thing around our house. And I'd love it if you could make it yourself. Now, before I go into any more detail about medicinal herbs, let's talk a little bit about that idea of medicinal herbs and why it is that we do this. I actually have a little trouble with the word medicine because I think that it conjures up images of pharmaceuticals, which then don't play out very well in terms of how herbs work. I do believe that the natural world in general and particular plants at particular times are a very powerful way to support your health and to basically practice preventative medicine, to be able to keep things from going wrong in the first place. One of the things that is most important for me in terms of preventative medicine is mental health, emotional health, and a kind of holistic vision of health in which I see that our bodies are more able to heal, our immune systems are more able to operate if we are not operating with a constant low-level anxiety, which seems to be the zeitgeist of our age. It seems to be kind of a common expectation that people are living with some kind of anxiety most of the time. Now, of course, the word anxiety also refers to a significant issue which may be addressed by Western pharmaceuticals. And I am not in any position to be giving medical advice. This isn't a kind of a pull one thing and then trade it with the other kind of situation. I would love to be able to believe in a world in which we have less need for pharmaceuticals because we're more able to harness and understand and interact with the power of plants and living with us and near us. But I certainly am not suggesting to anyone that that's just a jigsaw puzzle where you pull one piece and then replace it with the other. So I'm covering 3 plants in particular today: peppermint, lemon balm, and chamomile. If you have not grown herbs before and you're ready to, these are 3 that I personally recommend that you start with. And you're going to hear other recommendations from other people, but I just never get tired of the smell of peppermint, lemon balm, and chamomile when they're alive, and they're also so easy to preserve, to put into various forms to use over the winter time. And they're all perennial, so they all come back the next year. So really there are a lot of points in favor of these 3: peppermint, lemon balm, and chamomile. Let me show you what they look like stored. Here we go. Here's my lemon balm. So this is dried lemon balm leaf, and you can see I got plenty of it just from a couple of plants. This is chamomile. These are the flowers, although this is just the tail end of a supply that I've had for quite a while, so they don't really look like flowers anymore. The flowers aren't intact. It's left with kind of a powder. And this actually is not at its prime strength anymore. You only want to keep dried herbs in general for about 6 months, and chamomile is one of the more tender. It doesn't last very well, but this is what it looks like stored. And then here's a little bit of mint. This is mint flower and leaf, and all of these came from my own garden, from my own plants, which I said were so easy to grow. Perennial, lovely to have around because they have volatile oils, those smells, which really the power of these plants is just right in the air as they flower and from the leaves. You can't miss understanding what these plants do because they do it when they're alive. They do it right there when you're sitting in the garden. To make the children's stress calmer, All you need are these 3 herbs. They can be fresh, although I prefer to make a glycerite with dried herbs. I can talk about that another day. I like to use dried lemon balm, chamomile, and mint in approximately equal portions. And I'll put them in a jar, and because I'm using dried herbs, I'll get the jar about halfway full. And then I'm going to cover up to the top of the jar with liquid. Now in this case, I'm going to use vegetable glycerin. It's important to find vegetable glycerin that is intended for consumption, because there's also glycerin that's used for beauty, for makeup, or other beauty products. So you're going to want to find vegetable glycerin intended for consumption, and you can use it full strength, or you can cut it up to 1/2 with water. Now, the vegetable glycerin is not as permanent of a preservative as alcohol, but otherwise it's very similar to the process of making a tincture. So I'll link you to a video of me making a tincture. There's no need to think of this as kind of a mysterious thing. It's just a very simple procedure by which you capture the chemical properties of the plant into another medium, in this case glycerin, in another case vodka, or another case alcohol. So you've got your dried plant material up to about halfway. If it were fresh, you'd fill it right up. Dried material up to about halfway, your liquid that completely covers it. You don't want any plant material sticking out, because that could get moldy or have other reactions related to the presence of oxygen, which are not ideal. You want to keep that plant material submerged. And then you just look at it every day. Give it a shake now and then, maybe a shake once a day. And after 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, you strain out all of that plant material using perhaps some fine muslin or several layers of cheesecloth. You can kind of get away with a fine mesh strainer, but you'll probably have some matter left. And it's better if you can get it through fabric, so it'll be a really clean, really well strained liquid. And then you can store it in little bottles like this. So going back into my apothecary back here, I have all sorts of things back here that are in little brown bottles, but let me show you. This is marked lemon balm glycerite, but it really is my children's stress calmer. The reason I marked it lemon balm glycerite is that it's substantially more lemon balm than the other two, because I had so much more lemon balm. So this is a lot of lemon balm and a little bit of each of chamomile and mint in glycerite. But of course, you can see it's completely strained out. All of the plant material is gone. And so now what I do is I put this in a dropper bottle, and my kids take a half a dropper full pretty much every day, or whenever they're feeling anxious. We also have a mantra that we use with it, a saying, not because it's magical, but because it's helpful as a reminder. My kids will say, I am well, I am healthy, I am safe. And they'll take a little dropper full of the lemon balm glycerite. And it just helps us to keep a nice even keel. It helps us to stay sane and calm. And you know what? The more sane and calm we are, the healthier we are. Our immune systems are able to function as well as possible, and really benefiting from the qualities of these wonderful plants. Not only in the summertime when we get to smell their blooms, their fragrances, but also in the wintertime, because we've captured them in a way that helps us to keep our moods sustained all winter long. Just for fun, a couple of others here. This is my nettle tincture. I'm not taking this at all right now, but I will take it in the spring whenever I have allergy symptoms. This is a plantain tincture. Tincture is not my favorite way to take plantain, but it's good to have it in the wintertime because my plantain is all under 2 feet of snow. And here is a chamomile tincture. Now this actually is one of our favorites. My middle child, Stella, does not prefer the children's stress calmer. She prefers to have a few drops of chamomile tincture in her glass of water. And I often do that at breakfast. Actually, almost every day at breakfast, I'll put a few drops of the chamomile in her water. And it just helps her to feel pleasant and loved and calm and get her day off to a good start. We don't think of this as kind of any kind of magic, but we do recognize that these plants have the ability to affect our moods, and we just try to use that to our best advantage to create a happy, healthy life for our entire family. So I hope that that gets all of you a little bit inspired to grow some of your own herbs this year. The ones I've been talking about are peppermint, lemon balm, and chamomile. Feel free to check out all the other people who've been involved in this collaboration and see what else other people recommend. And I wish you the best of luck. Happy herb growing. See you next time.